The Warriors are one loss away from elimination, but they can even it up tonight in their final home game ever at Oracle. Meanwhile, Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors looking for their first NBA title. The Warriors are favored by 2.5, but they're going to have to get it done without Kevin Durant. A big good morning to FS1 NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Chris, curious who you're taking. Who do you think wins tonight?
Let me ease Skip Bayless's mind because I know you desperately want Golden State to win for the sake of your pick.
Don't jinx me.
So I'm saying they're going to win. Look, in fairness, I've picked them every game this series. So just put that out there for full disclosure. 3 reasons. 3 intangibles that I think Golden State
They better be intangible because I don't know any tangibles.
will use to help them pull this out. Number 1, last game at Oracle Arena. And as you've pointed out, they have not been good, not only this year, but in the playoffs. They're 6-4 at home. Obviously 0-2 at Oracle in this series. So I think they're going to want to come out. They're going to be motivated by that to come out and play well. And, of course, look, they want to win just for the sake of winning another championship. So that is at its ultimate peak. However, as you know, and Shannon knows, sometimes something emotional can happen that takes you to an even higher level. Your focus, your energy, everything can improve to a level you really didn't think you could go to. So I think that's what will happen. So you got the Oracle Arena last game, the Kevin Durant injury, whether it's pain for a teammate and knowing what he's going to have to go through now, going into free agency and all that, whether there's some guilt for second-guessing him, questioning him,
maybe,
and it came out publicly,
I'll give you that one.
right? And whether it's just not wanting him, because I don't know, and we'll get to this, of course, later, whether or not the Warriors really thought, like the management and Coach Steve Kerr and the doctors, whether or not they really thought he could injure himself worse. I bet the players didn't think that because the players don't know all the medical stuff that the coach and the management know. So they probably were thinking it's just a calf strain. You know, he can go out there and play. And now they know what he risked to try to help them win a championship. So I don't think they don't want that to be in vain for one game. You know, he played 12 minutes, 14 minutes, one game. Let's go out there and not let that be in vain for KD. And then I think the end of an era has never been closer, right? You know KD's not playing next year. What if out of, I don't know, guilt or whatever, the Warriors offer KD the 5-year, $221 million max, super max? Will they be able to bring Klay back? Because Klay wants the max as on day one.
Right.
Don't disrespect me. Offer it to me on day one. I'll sign it. If they sign KD, maybe, you know, that's going to really put him in the luxury tax to bring back Klay like that. So Draymond will be a free agent after next season. So the end of this era is looking like it could possibly come to an end. So I think all 3 of those things will have the Warriors play. And then I'll throw this in too. They have been good in this situation. They were down 3-2 to Houston. They were down 3-1 to OKC, which was maybe a superior team with KD and Russell Westbrook. And they pulled those out. So for those reasons and no basketball reasons, I'm going with Golden State.
I feel slightly better. Shannon Sharp.
Hey, Skip, I wish the Golden State Warriors and Steve Kerr would have thought a little bit more about this before they played Kevin Durant 12 of the first 14 minutes, whether or not he could re-injure that ankle. I don't think that was wise, but that's a discussion for another day. I took the Raptors, Chris, because I don't believe they're going to make 23-pointers again. The one thing that we do know that without KD, the floor condenses a little bit. They will play a lot better defense. I thought Game 5 was the worst defensive game that I had seen from the Toronto Raptors. I know they're a better defense. Skip, they're long. Danny Green, 6'6", he can play defense. Kawhi Leonard, we know what he represents. We don't even have to bring him up. Serge Ibaka coming off the bench is a great defensive player. Marc Gasol is a big body, protects the rim. He can play defense. Siakam. So they're long. But for whatever reason, I think they stood around like, well, okay, KD's coming back. Let's see what he got. Well, they let him get a rhythm. And in the process of him getting a rhythm, Steph and Klay got rhythm. And Klay never lost his rhythm. Although Steph lost his rhythm somewhat in the second half because he only scored, 8 points in the second half, none bigger than that what pick he came off of and hit a 3 to tie the ball game. They would do a better job. They're a better offensive rebounding team, which keeps them in the ball game. When Golden State gets a lead, they get to the foul line because they are not as heavily dependent on the three-point shot as Golden State. So they live at the foul line. Although in the second half, they didn't get to the foul line nearly as much as they needed to. It's over. It's over, Skip Bayless. And for the sole fact, I got one reason why it's going to be over. Everybody, including me, want to see old Kawhi up on that podium with that old Bill Russell trophy. Finals MVP. I want to see that. Chris Broussard wants to see that deep down because everybody in America want to see the pain on your face on Friday morning.
And I'm going to remind you, there are some good Spurs fans out there, some diehards who have no use for this guy right now. So don't include the Spurs fans, the good ones, in the rest of the world.
You think some do want to see Kawhi win?
Then they're not very good Spurs fans.
They're just
they're not diehards.
Yeah, they're not. You ought to be.
So
what about forgiveness?
Not for that. This is basketball forgiveness. Come on. This is, how could I, after what he did to my team, I don't, it's not theological at all. Right. That's a whole nother story. Here's the point that, to Chris's point, you made 3 very insightful, intangible reasons that I like. And I will cling to those because I'm looking at the tangible basketball reasons and I can't find one because I have no evidence of Golden State being able to even hang with Toronto at Oracle this year. And I'm going to include the early season, regular season game. It was 113-93 Toronto with no number 2 playing. Well, that's no good. So they have extreme confidence when they walk on the floor. They won game 3 at Oracle, 123-109. They won game 4, 105-92. Do you see a pattern here? They're just wiping them out. They're dominating at Oracle, whereas you point out, this team hasn't been very good all year at Oracle, where it lost 6 games by 20-plus points. So when I look at what number 2 did in games 3 and 4, he dominated those games, especially game 4. That was his overpowering game of this series because he goes 36 points, 12 rebounds, 4 steals, 0 turnovers, 5 of 9 threes, and 9 of 9 from the free throw line. That was a finals MVP game. I can debate and doubt about game 2 and game 5 closing, but the point is that was his showcase game. He's got to feel real good about this game tonight, at least on this floor, because he's been really good on this floor. So to me, he should own this game. His team is better than Golden State, and they have much better depth to me than Golden State does. So now, why am I sticking with it? The intangibles and the fact that I would love this team in a game 7 more than I would love it in tonight's game 6, because as I told Mr. Sharp, if you get to game 7, then it's Clay versus feet of Clay, because I think Toronto would have feet of Clay at home with suffocating pressure from Raptor Nation, and Jurassic Park to finish this off after they'd lost 2 straight games. Man, I would not want to be in those sneakers in that game. But in this game, it's going to have to be more that Toronto loses the game than Golden State wins the game. I still think there's got to be some element of pressure creeping in where they still don't shoot it great from 3. The team that's won the 3-point shootout each game has won all 5 games. So,
but don't you think that's a basketball reason to give to Golden State? Because they clearly are the better shooting team.
I hope so. Do I expect 20 out of 42 tonight? I do not. Could they get 20. To 17 maybe?
I'll give you another intangible. I left this off because I thought you would say it, but because you said it a few days ago. When they thought Kevin Durant was coming back or might come back, subconsciously, that's a crutch. And that's what he's been since he's got there. It's like KD is great. He can score anytime he wants. We can relax a little bit. When he's there, when he's not there, that's how they felt. So do they come out now where he's not coming back and play at a higher level?
Okay, I hope so. But I told Shannon earlier, I was a little disappointed and discouraged by what I heard from some of the Warriors yesterday, because instead of being what you would predict could be inspired by Kevin's injury and the guilt that they felt, they sounded a little deflated, if not disillusioned, over how it all shook out, that there's some angst about, did they not tell him the truth? Did they mislead him? Did they mislead us? And if that's operating, this is not going to be good tonight, right?
No question about that.
Okay. So, and finally,
but if you
go
look,
ahead.
Go ahead, Scott. I was going to say, if you look at Game 5, you look at how they came out, knowing that KD was on the court. Steph was super duper aggressive, but he had space. Clay was super duper aggressive because he had space. Because KD, not only was KD there, he made his presence felt. 11 points in the first quarter. He was 3 of 3. I was like, man, KD looking good. But I have a bigger question, and Chris, Skip and I talked about this earlier. Do you believe Boogie Cousins can give them games 2 and 5 performance in game 6? Because we have seen no indications that he can follow up a performance in one game, bring that performance to the next game. That's going to be big, because I don't even believe they were going to play Boogie Cousins in game 5, because they went to Looney first and then they brought Bogut. And they only went to Boogie when Kevon Looney couldn't go anymore.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I don't have any reason to believe he can do it. I just don't. This stage, he's not used to it. Look, he was really good in 2 and 5. And, hopefully he can do that for the Warriors fans. But no, there's no reason to believe he's going to go out there and play that well. Okay. And if I see him, they have got to tell him, stay near the basket for the most part. And if we do have you out to space the floor, you're there to space the floor. And unless you're wide open and can shoot a 3, don't put it on the floor. Don't penetrate. He's a great passer, but he just gets outside of it.
Penetrate, Boogie. Penetrate, Boogie. Penetrate. Don't listen to Chris Broussard.
He's hanging his hat on that one. So, in the end, the betting public is saying we're not sure about this, because it opened at Golden State by 3.5, and it's been bet all the way down to 2.5. So, I'm going to hang in with these 2 points. I think Kevon Looney is going to try to go. He's listed as questionable, so maybe that will discount the DeMarcus factor a little bit. And I don't know how long he'll last with his chest injury, but if he can last much or most of the game, they'll be okay in that department. I do expect Draymond to come up with a big game, because he hasn't played a big game yet. And I remind everybody, remember the Game 7 that they lost at Oracle to LeBron and Kyrie? That night, he made his case for MVP. He went 32 points, 15 rebounds, 9 assists, and had 2 steals and 6 of 8 from 3. That's a big-time Draymond. We haven't seen that guy. Well, they need to see him tonight.
I think, Skip, one last thing. I do think they need something from Boogie, because Looney's not going to give you points. All right, he might give you good defense, some rebounding. Bogut's not going to give you points. I think they're going to need some type of, 10 points, a good 8 points or something from Boogie.
Okay, what's your score?
Put it on the floor, Boogie. Put it on the floor, Boogie. Don't listen to Chris Broussard.
I'm going to say, I hadn't thought of a score, but I'm going to say 113, 110 Warriors.
Okay, I've averaged the 2 Warrior wins in this series to come up with 108, 105 home team. He's got number 2. That's all. He's just rooting for number 2. That's it.
Gentlemen, we got to leave it here, because we need to talk about a team that hopes to make the playoffs next season. Should the Lakers give up Kyle Kuzma in a deal for Anthony Davis?
Here we go.
We'll discuss with Chris
coming.
next.